There's no shortage of problems facing Michigan today. One of the most consequential, both in the near and the long term, is our public school system's declining academic performance. My colleagues and I have introduced a package of bills to add accountability, improve standards, and add curriculum flexibility. All of these reforms have a unifying principle, and that is to improve student outcomes. When looking at many different metrics, it is clear the performance of Michigan students continues to decline. There is a myriad of reasons we are in the situation we face today, and lack of money is not one of them. Even in the governor's State of the State, she acknowledged we must realize, quote, hard truths, and, quote, we invest more per pupil than most states and achieve bottom 10 results. Our state is spending 29% more on public K-12 schools this year than it did 5 years ago, and 50% more than a decade ago. Despite increased spending, results have worsened. Clearly, something is not working, and alternative solutions are needed. This package proposed today strengthens accountability by restoring standards to our Read by Grade 3 law. This law required that before any student passes to third grade, they must, at a minimum, be able to read at a second grade level. There were exemptions ranging from kids with individualized education programs to the superintendent granting a waiver at their own discretion. Before this law was repealed, I saw it working in my own district. Schools were beefing up reading supports unlike any time in the past. It was a travesty to see all the progress wiped away by taking accountability out of this law. We are not doing our kids any favors by promoting them to the next grade when they are unable to read. The plan also restores an A through F grading system so parents can easily understand how their school is performing. It reinstates student growth as a component of teacher performance evaluations, and it restores previous provisions in collective bargaining to ensure superintendents can make administrative decisions based on what's in the best interest of kids and not unions. All of these changes will help right the ship, but I make no false promises that this is all that is needed. I have put forth a myriad of other proposals in my school aid budget proposal. The most important of these proposals is to focus on ensuring kids are actually in the classroom learning. This sounds like an oversimplification, but it is a massive problem. At a minimum, chronic absenteeism needs to be brought back to pre-pandemic levels. Last academic year, roughly 30% of Michigan students missed 10% or more of the school year. Some schools have chronic absentee rates in the 90s. We can get students back in class through targeted support and accountability. We also need to roll back changes made in recent years that allowed for more virtual learning days and exemptions for professional development days. State Superintendent Dr. Michael Rice was correct to point out this problem to the legislature, exempting up to 22 days from the 180 required days when our schools are failing is brain-dead policy. On top of that, we must ensure kids are not only physically in the schoolroom, in the classroom, but also mentally present as well. Cell phones in the classroom must be addressed. I was glad to see we passed a bill in the Senate. It was not as strong as I prefer, but this is an issue we should be able to address in a bipartisan fashion. The second area of focus that we must address is helping students in failing schools. I was pleasantly surprised to see the governor's proposal provided targeted resources for intervention services such as tutoring and requiring parents be notified about how targeted schools are performing and spending money. I believe her plan can be improved, but it was not a bad start. The bottom line is this: families should no longer be beholden to a school failing that is given every chance to succeed, and a school should no longer go unchallenged in the face of persistent failure. We have a long way to go, and we aren't going to make a lick of progress unless we have a laser focus on improving student outcomes. If we don't, spending more money on schools won't make a difference in the long run. Thank you, Madam President.